now or pay me later. Hi, this is Owen McCafferty speaking to you on behalf of Professional Fusion, and our topic theme is deferred versus current payment. Why did I choose this as a topic? Because we haven't heard too much of pension plans, profit sharing plans, simple employee plans, and other forms of non-qualified payment plans, because right now trying to secure the services of people requires that you pay up front. Part of the reason is we have a younger group of people being employed, and things like retirement are just so far off and of little or no interest that most people in practices are focused in on how much can we afford to pay people on a current basis. And frankly, there's a lot of promises that are involved with paying me later. That is, wait until you hit age 59 and a half and you can start to tap into the storehouse of amounts that have been saved and earned in a tax-deferred basis, which is basically the definition of a pension plan, profit-sharing plan, simple employee plan, qualified Roth plan, all these different plans that the employer could be kicking into. Do they have as much interest to an employee as just current payment? Well, speaking and going back to age 21 when I was first married, and then age 23 when I had my first child, retirement was the last of all considerations for me. Having enough money to make payment on Pampers and any sort of physician's bills for the pediatrician, making sure that there's adequate funds to buy clothes, those were far more important to me, generating an income stream, than worried about retirement. Maybe rolling that theory from the boomers to the Generation Zers, there's less money that's available to save for things like purchasing new homes, buying new cars, retiring debt, buying clothes, doing the things that would be rewarding based on the specific value system of the people at the time. But pension plans, profit sharing plans were always thrown out as a compensatory consideration. And the word throwing out seems to be more of a popular issue. People aren't interested in retirement now. They're more interested in existence. We found this to be the case in an inflationary period. Now, back in the 70s, starting in 1973 with the Arab oil embargo, and through about 1980, 81, when I was at the age where trying to get as much wealth into the hands of the family unit as possible and not worry about retirement, you can understand, because the inflationary impact was at 12, 13, 14%. And I grant you that inflationary calculations were different than they are today. In essence, they were much more honest in the old days. But the second factor that relates to this is that you just needed money while your wages didn't increase at the same level as your expenses and your costs. So we have a replication going back from the old baby boomers to the Generation Zers. I see a lot of similarities. We're dealing with people that are in situations where wages just can't catch up with prices. Now, notice I flipped from the word inflation to price for a reason. Inflation assumes the degradation of the fiat. In other words, the value of $1 today is worth as much as the value of the dollar yesterday. Price includes inflation, but also includes scarcity of product. It includes premium assessments something that could be euphemistically referenced to as corporate greed, and anticipation of what the real inflation rate is vis-a-vis the published rate. So we're dealing with a lot of the same things that occurred in the past as occurring today, almost 50 years difference between then and now. And we've learned an awful lot in terms of examples, but deferred compensatory arrangements, in my personal opinion, from a staffing standpoint, are not really too cool. Money is best paid and gratitude is best expressed in a current paycheck. Now, sure, if you want to look back to the time that you're now 56, 60, 65 years of age, sure, you want to have that money that's available to retire. But even the idea of retirement is a myth. In my personal opinion, over the next 50 years to come, retirement will be a thing of the past. It was only started around 1946 when the GIs were coming back from the European and Pacific theaters, and we needed to employ these people. Best way to do it was to get rid of the old wood. That was to get rid of those traditionalists and depression babies and put in their place those individuals that are in need of a job, raising a family, and demanding capital. So the theory of retirement and a pension plan became very popular. Now, with the scarcity of people, and in fact, the generation or two that will be needed so that those folks that came in from borders, maybe without the approval of the authorities, are now going to be educated enough and will be looking for a job. But that's going to take a good 15 to 20 years. Right now, people are scarce and you'll be paying them, and they really won't be worried about the savings resulting from a pension plan or profit sharing plan. I know years ago it was considered to be, well, I don't care about it, I'll just discriminate and we'll set up a system so that because of any sort of weighted age basis, I can get a lot more socked into my plan for my retirement, and my employees that really aren't interested in retirement won't have to worry about the fact. We'll pay them more money. Well, over the years since the 1974 Employee Retirement Income and Security Act, ERISA, the congressional requirements to spot those variations, why don't we call it, on a theme for retirement, have made the discriminatory options few and far between. So as a result, pension plans and profit sharing plans just aren't too popular, with the exception of union plans that have been negotiated. Keep in mind, the cost of employees, like the cost of products, is all built into the final price that any business has to charge for goods or services. So it'll be interesting to see where things happen in the future, but just to put a perspective in place, go back to the time that you started out, which for myself is like yesterday, 1974, and remember that supporting a family, paying down on debt, saving for your first home are far more important than worried about the activities that you will have when you mythically retire. And I say mythical because I just don't believe that society in the next 50 years is going to allow people to retire. We'll talk about further demographics that occur and why I believe that retirement for the future is going to be non sequitur in some of our future videos. So with that in mind, I am Owen McCafferty. I want to say thank you very much for considering the perspective, and hope to see you soon.